Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out. From your neighbor to City Hall. Reach out, go vote, show out. Serving people is what it's all about. Reach out, go vote, show out. Frankfort civic proud. Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out.
From Capitol Halls to Bourbon Balls, this is the City of Frankfort podcast for Frankfortians. We're swapping stories, spilling tea, celebrating the quirks that make Kentucky's capital city the best hometown around. Welcome to the City of Frankfort podcast. I'm Kenton, and today I'm joined by Eric Cockley, the Director of Planning and Community Development for the City of Frankfort. Today we're going to break down what planning really does.
We do things.
Today we're going to break down what planning really does and how the permitting process works and why the planning department is focused on being business friendly and customer focused. If you ever thought about opening a business, renovating a building, adding on to your home, or wondered, who do I even call at City Hall? This episode is for you. Welcome, Eric.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So Eric, start us off. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Been in Frankfort since 5th grade.
Since 5th grade, so you are not a native Frankfortian?
Not originally, no.
So where are you originally from?
I was born in Alabama, actually.
Oh, a real son of the South.
Yeah, as they say. Then spent some time in Tallahassee, Florida before coming here in 5th grade. And then I've been in Frankfort and Kentucky basically since then. So Kentucky's home.
Okay. What a big change from Alabama to Florida to Frankfort. I mean, that's kind of a good move, but you were young, so probably not too bad, right?
Yeah.
You probably don't even remember other places.
No, I remember. I don't remember that much of Alabama because I only was there through like kindergarten.
Okay. Fair enough. What's your education background like?
So I went to U of L.
Okay.
Good news, bad news, depending on your opinion on things, you know. But I have a political science degree undergrad, and then went to grad school for public administration and urban planning.
Nice. And how long have you been with the city?
Coming up on 9 years.
9 years.
But I've been working in the community for going on coming up on 20 years.
20
now.
years.
I spent about 11 years or so at the county beforehand.
Oh, okay, so you're very familiar with, the local government here.
Mm-hmm. Been fortunate to be able to do this particular job in my hometown. Which is nice.
Yeah, so you get to contribute to your hometown. Like that is pretty awesome, man. It's pretty awesome. Planning can feel like a big intimidating word for someone listening. What does the planning department actually do on a day-to-day basis? We're just going to try and get in there and break it down. What is planning all about?
That's a great question. Someone once wisely described planning as the least understood and most hated local government service, and I think that's kind of accurate sometimes.
I would agree with that.
Not to start this in a scope of negativity, but a lot of people don't understand a lot about the ins and outs of how we do things. In short, what we do on a day-to-day basis, as you mentioned, is review land use and building applications and decision making.
Okay.
That goes from everything from the little I want to build a fence in my backyard to the big things you might see in the paper about decisions about future land use, whether it's like the long range issue, like comp plan, zone change applications, plans for, big significant developments like we have out at the paddocks going on right now.
Okay.
But we also, particularly at the city, the city and the county's offices are very similar. We handle very similar things, but some of the other things that we spend more time on than probably they do is also our neighborhood inspection services, code enforcement, rental inspection programs, and things of that nature, as well as Vicki in our office, our historic preservation officer, handling all of our historic preservation related activities in addition to our other stuff.
That's a pretty full plate right there. I mean, that's a wide gamut of things that you all, that kind of happen under the planning and community development umbrella.
Well, that's one of the fun things about doing what I do in a community our size is that we do have a wide umbrella of things that end up falling under what we do. And I even missed some things in that explanation. But But it's also good because we get to touch a lot of different things and understand about what's going on, and it makes it interesting work.
Yeah, absolutely. You probably don't see the same thing every day. I'm sure you have new stuff happening every day.
As I know, in local government, we you think you know what's happening today,
But you don't. But you very well do
but hey,
not.
boy, you just will find out.
Yeah, and for the listeners that don't know, I actually used to work for Eric in the planning and community development department, and I was the neighborhood inspector, as we talked to Sharon before with that stuff. Eric, I'm gonna hit you with a tough question here. I'm gonna hit you with a tough one here, Eric. One thing we hear often is Frankfort wants to be business friendly. How does the planning department support that goal?
Yeah, that's a big part of what we do every day. So two things. First, trying to be as responsive, as quick and responsive as we can be. But also just we work with people. I mentioned that we're a fairly small department. What's great about that is that people can come into our office, say for a building permit, and as long as somebody's not out in the field missing, we can get you in and out the door, and we will walk you through the process from admin to planning review to building inspector review. If there's a historic preservation review necessary, we can have Vicky available. We do our best to try to turn stuff around really quickly.
Yeah.
And we hear good things from folks that work in other jurisdictions that are much bigger than ours, that they're amazed that they can come in and in 10 minutes they've talked to every single one of us and gotten signed off on and a permit issued, and they're out the door to do their project. That's what we want to do. While we're regulators, we want to say yes to everybody's project if we can, within the guidelines of what we do. So we're here to be helpful, and that's kind of our mantra, as you know, from working in the department. And we always kind of tell people, like, just get in touch with us, and we can walk you through stuff. It can be confusing. You come in and ask questions, and we pull out a big old book of regulations, and you think, good Lord. But we can help to make it easier.
I will agree with that 100%. And, from working up there, and even after I moved to a different department, I will say I do hear all the time from people, like you said, that it's kind of a one-stop shop. Like, you can come in, talk to somebody that day, and a lot of times you can leave with a permit that day. And I just don't think that you see that a lot of other places. Because, it really, everybody has to kind of be clicking on all cylinders to kind of get that stuff out quick like that. Speaking of businesses, people always want to know, what's an exciting new business coming to town this year that we don't know about yet? Any secret scoop you can give us? Can you give us something? Can you give the people something? We want to know. We want to know.
So this is always the fun part about my job, is that because we review these things, sometimes we hear about stuff beforehand. So I get these questions all the time. And most disappointingly for most people, if things haven't gone public yet, then it's usually not appropriate for me to share.
That's what I was scared of. I was hoping we would be able to wiggle a little more.
But as we all know,
you.
we've got Target and BJ's Wholesale under construction at the paddocks, and a number of things continue to roll in out there that we're real excited about. And of course, that information will be available when appropriate.
Okay. Man, Eric, I was really hoping we'd be able to weasel something out of you. I figured that you pull out something good for your old pal. But, hey, I do understand that you have to do your job and you can't let everything go. I get that.
Businesses like to make their own announcements.
They do, I know. And it makes sense. And the last thing we want to do is step on somebody's toes.
Yeah.
On a little bit different note, when should someone pick up the phone and call the planning department? Like what kind of, if they're having X issue, when should you call? What issue should you call about? Just kind of give the people, when should people be contacting you? When would you like for them to contact you?
I mean, whenever they need something. So you talked about, what issues might they call us about? As I mentioned, we have our neighborhood inspectors. So if you have, property maintenance complaints about your neighbors and things like that, vehicles, junk, whatever other issues. Even if you're not sure if it's us, you can always just start with a call to our office. And we'll either help you with it or be a clearinghouse to get you to whoever can deal with it. If you're contemplating a home project or starting a business that might also involve some kind of construction element or land use change, I always kind of tell people, like, it's never a bad idea when you're thinking through a new project to I think planning's always a great place for you to start with questions and just see what you're looking at if there's something you don't know about. As I said before, we want people's projects to be successful, whether it's a homeowner's renovation or a new business or a development. And the easiest way to do that and make it smooth for all of us is to just chat with us early on. And that's one of the things we do as well when we get contacted from developers and their project engineers, is we're more than happy, sometimes before they're even ready to really turn something in, to go over, okay, let me give you red flags, let me give you what the process is going to look like. So yeah, all that is to say, if you need something that you think might deal with us, give us a call. And if it doesn't, we're pretty good about figuring out who that might be.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's awesome. You kind of like answered the next question I was going to ask there, about what would you tell somebody who's apprehensive, of reaching out to you all, or, never reached out to you all before. I mean, you kind of made it known that, hey, kind of no matter what you got going on, if you reach out, then you all are going to be able to help them to kind of figure out who they need to talk to, or, what they need to do with their project or whatever. So, all that to be said, don't be scared to reach out.
Absolutely.
You guys are here to help, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, that's local government, as you know. We're basically a customer service organization. So, we're here to help.
No, and customer service is a big thing in your department, isn't it? Deal with the public a lot. Deal with the public a lot. So I know that y'all have a very good approach to customer service. Why is it important for residents and businesses to see the city employees as partners instead of like roadblocks or red flags, or like people, it can, why would it be beneficial for people to view it that way, instead of like, oh, this is a headache I have to go through, instead of like, oh, this is something helpful that I can use?
Yeah, well, you mentioned, headache, roadblock, and so I'll run with that terminology or thought process, and I would say that my feeling is that, like, the planning department, like all of local government, as it relates to people and moving forward with projects that may involve us, is, we're not traffic cops or roadblocks as much as we're trying to be tour guides.
Okay.
So think about it more like that. We can help you navigate the things.
I like that.
We can also maybe help you strategize the best way to achieve the goal, because we kind of know more about the process than you may. Okay. So that's the other thing. We're not just here to have you come in, ask us a question, turn in an application, and we say no, and good luck the next try. A lot of what we do, and maybe folks that don't interact with us, is help you plan a project, because we might be able to help you do it in a way that's easier.
So more of like an
Because we're used to
educational
doing it.
approach.
Yeah.
Like you're here to give people the information to help make them successful.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we may know a way to make it easier for us, and if it's easier for us, it's easier for you.
Yeah, which I get. I mean, especially if you don't know.
Trust me, it's our goal.
Okay. That makes sense. I get it. I mean, because if it's smooth for everybody, then it's going to go quicker and
Your
less
success
headache.
is our success. I don't like saying no.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes we have to.
That
But I
is
prefer
true.
to say, well, maybe not that way.
Yeah, let's figure out a different way.
Exactly.
And I like that. I mean, I love that approach, and I think that the people that do use you all a lot would say that that's a very helpful thing, because instead of being shooed away or whatever and being like, you better come back with something else, you're like, hey, we can make this happen, but let's do it this way.
Yeah, let's think how to get you to where you want to go.
I like it. Let's talk about ordinances. What are ordinances?
Ordinances are local laws, essentially.
Okay. And why do they matter in the planning and permitting process?
And this is, I think, one of the reasons why, like, planning, as I said, is the least understood and sometimes most often disliked, is because most of what we do in terms of regulating land use is by administering a whole series of lengthy and sometimes seemingly complicated ordinances. So everything that planning departments do and our land use regulation is enabled by KRS 100, which is what we call our enabling statutes from state statute, which is basically like a state ordinance, right? These are all just different terms. And as some of the public, and you may remember, we just got through a lengthy process of updating our comp plan. The reason we do that is because that's required by those state statutes so that we can enact ordinances and regulations to regulate land use. So we build this framework down to talk about our long-range goals and then to deal with those ordinances that get much more specific about things you can and can't do. Where can you do them? The different zones that allow different land uses, all the way down to things like the design guidelines we have in our historic districts. We just finished a massive flood disaster this past year.
Yeah.
One of the things we also have are floodplain development regulations. So it's another wrinkle of things that we do. I serve as our local floodplain coordinator. So in addition to all of our normal zoning, if you're in a floodplain, we have other rules for what you can do there as well, which allows us to offer flood insurance to our community. So, and that's the other thing that I would maybe mention when we talk about ordinances and the things that we require folks to do. Some of the things that we may require you to do, and the floodplain ordinance is a good example, we do because state and federal agencies require us to regulate those things and to have those ordinances so that we can offer you something else that's actually beneficial. So like in the floodplain, it's a good example. In order for us to participate in the National Flood Insurance Program, we have to regulate floodplain development in an appropriate way. But in doing so, it means that our community has available to it National Flood Insurance Program. Insurance to protect, and as we know, we're a river city. It's necessary. As a whole lot of the folks in our community this year know about, and I know I do.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you're down by the river, aren't you? So I'd say you got a little bit of water in your house.
But we got put back together. So.
That's good. I mean, Frankfort really came together in that time, and a lot of people were helping other people out, and it was beautiful to see. You hate that it has to be under circumstances like that, but it is always beautiful to see the community come together. Basically, these ordinances, instead of being headaches or somebody micromanaging, citizens, it's more of to help citizens and to make people, make everybody's lives better overall rather than to hinder people's lives.
Yeah, I know my personal philosophy of what we do in terms of administering regulations isn't because I enjoy being able to tell people what to do, right?
Yeah.
It's more about, at the baseline, what we do is a lot about life safety and public welfare.
Okay.
So whether it's interacting with the building inspector when he's administering the National Building Code, well, a lot of the things that he's doing are more about safety. What happens when there's a fire in the house? What happens, make sure something doesn't collapse because it wasn't framed up, which is all about initially your own safety, but also your safety if you buy a house that three owners ago somebody built, that you have some confidence that what you're getting a safe home for you and your loved ones, or And so that's what a lot of our stuff comes back to. It also is about enabling, once again, people to get to yes for their projects, whether it's a new business or a land use issue. Because we have things like zoning and long-range planning documents like the comp plan, people can predict what's going to happen around them. To some degree, right? So that you can make good decisions if you're trying to purchase real estate or start a business, because this appears to be the long-range plan, or this is even more acutely, I'm looking at this property that's zoned X, and I can see that around it is zoned X, Y, or Z, so I can predict when I make real estate decisions about what's going to happen around me, right? So that's maybe a way in thinking about our regulations that's kind of backwards. Probably, most people probably think about it as the way this is what limits what I can do, but it also helps you predict what's going to happen around you in the future.
So it's a bit of a roadmap, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good way to think about it. I mean, I know it makes it a little easier for me to kind of understand why these things are like this. So, Eric, are there common ordinances or requirements that tend to surprise people?
We have a lot of stuff. So there's all sorts of stuff in our regulations that people maybe aren't aware of. But in terms of surprise people, Maybe one that some people aren't aware of. That's like an odd thing that you wouldn't think we would regulate. But as we know at the city, we have striven over the years to be what we call the public art capital of Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
And so, strangely enough, my office's role in that, if you will, is that we have a set of ordinances that actually guides the placement of murals.
Oh, okay.
On buildings in our National Historic District.
Nice.
So we don't do a lot of them when they come up, but we do in fact issue permits for murals on historic buildings downtown. Some people may remember when the mural thing came up a few years ago and was a bit of a to-do.
Yeah.
But since then it's been smooth. But we issue permits on.
Well, that's
those that
something
come up.
I didn't even know. Yeah. So if you want to dabble in murals, you have to talk to Mr. Cockley. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. As Frankfort continues to grow, what excites you most about the future of planning in our city?
Well, we're working currently, since completion of the comp plan, on an entire rewrite of all of our development codes, both in the city and the county.
Oh.
So we'll have a new development code. And so it's been great for me because I get to geek out on it, which is lovely for me. But in addition to the nerd value, it's really exciting because our zoning codes have not changed, other than minor amendments here and there. They were written more than 20 years ago.
Oh, okay, so in need of a
So this is a
update.
significant opportunity to modernize and rethink all the things we do. So it's really exciting for me that we can look at everything we do and go, well, why are we doing that at all? And maybe we don't anymore.
And that's got to be cool to have a big part of that.
Yeah,
like,
and so
this your
our
legacy.
goal, and at the direction of the City Commission and our Planning Commission, is to rethink these things to guide really high quality growth, but also to be common sense, and try to keep things straightforward and easy so we can keep doing things like get people in and out the door with their projects as quickly as possible within the guidelines of what we want to do. So I think that's really exciting. The other thing I would be remiss if I didn't mention about that is that, as you may know, and some of the public may know, we did a housing affordability study as part of our comp plan analysis, and the city has now created an affordable housing committee, and I sit on that as part of my role.
Nice.
And so, like many communities in our region and really across the country right now, housing affordability and housing availability is an issue that the city deals with. One of the ways we can deal with that, among other things, is to take down barriers within our development codes to allow more housing, to allow more density, different housing types, things like that. So one of the exciting things about this development code is that we're looking at all those things. And so the things in our toolbox from our world are, like I said, allowing different housing types and zones that right now maybe won't let that housing type be built. More flexible, what we call bulk density and heights, which are basically, for folks out there, is like your dimensional standards of what can go on a lot.
Okay.
Right? You have to be so far from a property line. You can only cover so much. The more of a lot you let somebody use with a structure, i.e. density, the more housing units perhaps you can create. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So all those things, it's the goal to get, once again, within reason and with good planning practice, roadblocks out of the way so that our regulations aren't the things keeping this from happening.
That's huge.
You hope that the market can drive it, but what we want to do is make sure that within good planning practice, our regulations are not the roadblock, as you say.
Okay.
Which is it doesn't sound exciting. As I said, those like me that are in it get to nerd out over it. But when you talk to housing, professionals around the country, one of the main things they say about working on the housing problem isn't just subsidizing projects or other big flashy things that governments or market forces may do, but also just making sure that regulations aren't the problem.
Yeah.
And in many communities they are, because we've spent years of doing our old sort of Euclidean zoning where we have all these single family detached only zoning districts, and it just keeps that missing middle from being able to have a place that can even happen.
Yeah.
Right? So you're seeing a lot of communities go away from single family detached, and even some states have gotten really bold about like forcing you to get away from prohibiting non-single family detached. We're not talking about quite so bold, but need to think through about that because we need all those housing types here in the city, and hopefully we can see it actually happen.
No, that's huge. I mean, that does sound exciting. I mean, that's huge right there. So that's exciting. Exciting. As we wrap up, what's one thing you want the community to remember about the planning department? Hold on. As we wrap up, what is one thing you want the community to remember about the planning department?
Just that we're here and available to help. We don't bite.
There you go.
If you got a question, just call, come see us.
Yeah, what's the best way for people to get in touch with the planning staff?
Email, phone, stop by the office. There should be somebody in just about all the time.
There you go. Drop on in.
Yeah.
All right. Eric, thank you so much for joining us today and letting us see behind the scenes of the planning department. You are an important part of the city. I mean, I feel like everybody knows that now, which is, it's huge. People don't really realize how big of a role you guys play. We like to end each of our shows with a Frankfort rapid fire.
Uh-oh.
So as a fellow Frankfortian, we want to hear some of your takes on our town. You say the first thing that comes to your mind, no explanation needed. You ready?
Okay. All right.
Let's go. Favorite Mexican restaurant?
Oh, you're going to hit me with that. Frankfort and our Mexican restaurant.
I know there's quite a few choices in there.
People got their loyalty. You got to be careful with this one.
You do. It's a tough question.
And there's a lot.
Tough question.
Okay, let me work through this one. So historically, big fan of Garcia's.
Okay.
Spent a lot of time over the years with them. Great folks, great restaurant. Got to give a shout out. I live downtown, so I love walking over, seeing our buddy Ishmael at Mi Fiesta.
Okay, easy, close to the house.
Love
nice.
it. It's close. Great guy. And we got lots of other.
There's a bunch. There's a bunch. I
wouldn't want to exclude anybody.
We have no shortage of good Mexican restaurants. What's your favorite Frankfort landmark? Tough one.
Yeah. Okay. I got a hot take for you on this one.
Okay.
I think one of the most overlooked buildings we have in town that nobody ever talks about. Everybody talks about the Capitol, the old Capitol, other things like that. I've always appreciated the old state office building.
Okay.
I think it's an underappreciated, handsome building. It's all old Art Deco.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a Batman geek.
Okay.
And the way that it's got that Art Deco sort of super masculine thing about it, and it's big, like aggressive. It seems to me like a building that would be in Gotham City.
Okay. So. Yeah. I see what you're getting. I see where you're coming from there. What is your favorite new Frankfort business?
Oh,
that's another tough one for you to answer.
I don't know how to touch that one. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff in the last few years that have come in town. As I said, I'm downtown. We work downtown. It's been really exciting to see all the businesses come in. I would say, Target's under construction. That's pretty big.
Yeah, that is pretty big.
I'll just go with the easy button. I'll just say Target.
Okay, all right.
I say as though I'm a shopper. I'll probably.
Well, so this question right here might be hard for you. East Side or West Side Kroger?
So once again, I'm neutrally located downtown. This is situational for me.
It is.
We're talking about like a big, lengthy shopping trip, assuming I'm forced to participate in one. We're going East Side.
Okay.
Not to mention it happens to be adjacent to the aforementioned Garcia's.
Yes.
So if I'm forced to participate, then maybe there's a margarita available for my trouble.
Okay, East Side.
If we're talking like run out, get a few things, I'm going to the West Side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I get it. A quick
Saturday trip, that's a West Side for me.
Okay. Man.
But it gets complicated, because singing bridge being out changes things.
Speaking of singing, I heard you are a big karaoke guy.
All right, people say things. I don't know about
no truth to that. No truth to that.
Zero musical talent. Nobody wants that. No one's asking for that.
Eric, anybody who's been in and around this building knows that Eric Cockley is always listening to music. So I have a question.
Listening,
a quick one.
Not creating or duplicating.
What is on your phone right now? What are you listening to right now?
This morning, got into the office and put on some Nirvana.
Nirvana, nice. Good.
Yeah, that was my jam this morning.
Good call. Good call. Good call. Thanks for joining us this week, fellow Frankfortians. We will catch you again next week on the City of Frankfort podcast. Don't forget to follow the City of Frankfort podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And make sure you subscribe to our show feed wherever you get your podcast. Get weekly episode notifications. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Kenton. See you around, Frankfort.